Hey guys, Daniel here and welcome back to another video. Here today I'm going to be going through my favorite $20 stock in the stock market here today. In my opinion, this company has an incredible opportunity, not just in the short term, over the next few quarters, over the next year, but also in the long term, over the next 3 to 5 years. I think this company is poised to take advantage of massive growth in the sector that it's in. The name of that company is the Tattooed Chef, ticker symbol TTCF. Now, this is a company that creates plant-based frozen foods. When looking for a company, I needed to fall under 3 criteria. And in my opinion, the Tattooed Chef falls under all 3 of these. It has a growing business model, growing revenues, growing profits. It's at a great valuation compared to its peers, and it's in a very fast-growing industry. I personally believe that the vegan and vegetarian trend is only beginning and will continue to grow going into the future over the next 5 to 10 years as it continues to take on the meat sector. Now, the Tattooed Chef is one of the kind of businesses at the forefront of this movement. Plant-based frozen foods, a very niche market, which is great since there's minimal competitors in that space. With companies like Beyond Meat, you have Impossible Foods, and you have all of the big dogs like the Tyson Foods or any of the other competitors coming at you with a very commoditized business, commoditized products. In the sense of Tattooed Chef, they have a brand behind their products and a lot of customer loyalty. That's one of the things that I like behind the Tattooed Chef. Their brand. This is a company growing very quickly. They had around 2 products back in 2017. That number is now at 38 and expected to grow to 62 different SKUs by the end of 2021. And obviously these are very kind of interesting products. Acai bowls, cauliflower crust pizzas, lots of veggies. Again, all things that fall under the healthy, vegetarian, vegan style foods, and they're all very easy to make since they're frozen, which is great since their target consumer is millennials. And what is one of the things that millennials favor over anything? Time. The time it takes to create food, and the fact that this is also healthy food is absolutely incredible. Now, the Tattooed Chef, we can kind of see here what their products really look like. And this kind of adds to my point about branding. Tattooed Chef really differentiates themselves in the sense of the way they package and design their foods. This packaging really stands out. If you go to a store and you see the Tattooed Chef, it's going to draw your eye towards it, which is great since I feel that when you go shopping for food, it's a very plain experience. You just kind of look generally for what you want, and you don't really batter an eye anywhere else. But the Tattooed Chef is changing that. The way their products look clean, they draw your attention and are very bright, happy. They're labeled with vegan, vegetarian, all great things. I love what they're doing at this company. So that's kind of the business model. The Tattooed Chef is vertically integrated, which is very kind of great to see in a company as it allows them to do so many different things. 1, control of ingredients and prioritization of product. When you are vertically integrated, you can take control of the entire process. In the case of Beyond Meat, they start with the innovation part. They figure out what product they want to make, how they make it. Then they design their product. Then they plant their ingredients. They make their own ingredients. They grow those ingredients and then they manufacture them at their own facility. They have 2 facilities, one in California and one in Italy. That's also one of the interesting things, the fact that they're not just solely in the United States, but also in Italy. I think European expansion is going to be huge over the next 5 years. Now, this is one of the things that I really like about the Tattooed Chef. As it is a very quickly growing brand and growing business, they're going to need to scale very quickly. And what's one of the best ways to do that? Being vertically integrated, as it allows you to take control of the entire process. Get ready for that demand. Meet the demand very easily. They're already planning to expand their facilities over 2x just in 2021 after already expanding them like 100% over in 2020. They're doubling capacity every year, which is just incredible. And it's going to allow them to prepare for the incredible demand they're going to see as they continue expanding throughout the United States. So the Tattooed Chef is a brand that's in a lot of big box retailers and stores like Walmart, Sam's Club, Costco, and Target. Those are the big dogs when it comes to the Tattooed Chef. And a lot of these a lot of these stores have only started to import Tattooed Chef products. And this is a very bullish sign. As from everything I've seen, the Tattooed Chef is selling very well at these stores, in Costco stores, in Target stores, in Sam's Clubs, in Walmarts. The more these products sell, the more SKUs go into each store and the more stores the Tattooed Chef goes into. Target, this is a company that they've only started to get into over the past few months. And from what I've heard, their products have been selling very well. And I think 2021 is the year where they expand into almost all Target locations, almost all Costco locations, almost all Sam's Club, and almost all Walmart locations across the United States. And this is absolutely huge. The fact that they're in these stores alone really speaks to their brand and their product. If you have a good product, or if you don't have a good product rather, you're not going to stay in Costco. Walmart's not going to want you if you have a bad product that no one's buying. That's something to keep an eye on. In terms of points of distribution, these are kind of like the smaller stores. They have around 23,000 as of right now, and their 2021 objective is to over double the amount of stores they're in. Those are like Walmart stores, Sam's Club stores, etc., and go to 65,000 points of distribution. So they're expecting a lot of growth here in 2021, which is something I really like to see. So here is just kind of an example of like these smaller locations that are kind of going after Tattooed Chef and kind of introducing them to their stores. 7-Eleven, Kroger's, Whole Foods. That's a big one. I think the Tattooed Chef has a big opportunity at Whole Foods. Obviously Target, and I'm not going to read all of these, but you kind of get a sense. Brands want the Tattooed Chef, which is very bullish over the next year and over the long term as well. So in terms of the TAM, the total addressable market for the frozen food category, which is the category Tattooed Chef is trying to capture, it's currently a $55.2 billion opportunity in the United States. In terms of the Tattooed Chef's current opportunity with the products that they currently have, it's at around $33.9 billion. And the near-term opportunity attacking the dessert section is around an extra $12.6 billion. Obviously, millennials and Gen Z are driving growth in this sector as it's really favored over like the generic spending half an hour or an hour creating your food. The fact that you can get it frozen, healthy food, is very favorable in the eyes of millennials and consumers. And again, you got that tailwind of veganism and vegetarianism, something that I really like. I'm really bullish on this business model. So here we kind of get a sense of their numbers, what the Tattooed Chef has done over the past 10 plus years. Now, before the Tattooed Chef became a brand in 2017, they were under the name of Stonegate Foods. They were a vegetable kind of supplier and grower. Now, the CEO, Sam Galletti, has been a part of this company since then. And although you probably, you don't really look at those numbers right now, right? That's so pointless to look at that $4.4 million in revenue. They were just a different company. Now they've changed, right? But you can't kind of just overlook that, because as a vegetable and private label distributor, they had a lot of connections with companies like Whole Foods and Costco and Walmart, which is great because those connections can now be really utilized in a massive, massive way to get the Tattooed Chef into Costco like they have, into Whole Foods, what they've just started, and a variety of different stores. And having that experience will really help them going forwards. Then they changed into like the Itella brand, which is kind of just Italian food. That obviously was a bit better than Stonegate Foods, but really what took the Tattooed Chef what took Itella to the next level was changing it to the Tattooed Chef. Now, Sam Galletti's daughter, Sarah Galletti, stepped in around 2017, or back in 2014 actually, and she's the one that really changed the brand in a massive way and is really responsible for the growth that we've seen over the past few years. I think she is an incredible person, an incredible CCO, and she will be one of the leaders in the Tattooed Chef's growth going forward. So this is really fascinating. We can kind of look back here and see the growth that the Tattooed Chef has had over the past 3 years since its name change. Gone from $32.5 million in revenue to over or almost $150 million in revenue. Now, they've done all of this without any marketing or advertising, without spending a dime on advertising, which is just incredible. The fact that they've had so much growth without any marketing spent is incredibly bullish, not just on their product, but on revenue growth as well, and as a business. In 2021, they're launching their marketing and advertising campaign. This will be huge. In my opinion, this is going to be that thing that takes the Tattooed Chef to the next level, getting their brand out there, making the Tattooed Chef a home brand, getting everyone to know what the Tattooed Chef is and what they do. Now, this is one of those bullish catalysts over 2021, and as earnings, I believe earnings are beginning of March. I think the first 2 weeks of March, we're gonna get our first sense of how marketing is affecting the Tattooed Chef's business model. If they come out and say it's increasing revenues by 50% what it would have been without the marketing, we can see some incredible things with this marketing and how it affects their revenue going forwards. We have to wait till management kind of gives us some more insight into this in their next earnings call, but expect big things with this marketing campaign. So in terms of valuation, now this is one of the things that really makes me favor the Tattooed Chef over Beyond Meat. Aside from the business model, the valuation. Beyond Meat is an $11 billion company trading at a price to sales of 28. The Tattooed Chef valued at 1.68 billion with a price to sales of 12.35. Over 50%, nearly 60% cheaper than Beyond Meat with almost the same revenue growth. Absolutely huge. And you can't really use forward PEs to value growth companies as they're spending a lot of their dollars on growing the business and growing their revenues. But even with that, the Tattooed Chef is trading at a cheaper forward PE than Beyond Meat. One of the things that I like about the Tattooed Chef, their CEO Sam Galletti said they're focusing on profitable growth, which is great because that eliminates any kind of needs for dilution when it comes to diluting shares and decreasing shareholder value. That decreases that and decreases the risk of bankruptcy, which is something I love to see from a CEO and love to see from a company. So on a valuation standpoint, the Tattooed Chef is much cheaper than Beyond Meat. And this is one of the things that I really like and gives me a nice kind of barrier or kind of a sense of, if this stock's already so much cheaper than Beyond Meat, how much cheaper can it get? And if it does, that's just a smashing deal and I'll just add it to my position. Now here is where things get really exciting. It's when we look at 2021 guidance and beyond. This is where we can actually take these numbers and put them into price targets, which is what I'm going to do in a second here. In 2021, they're expecting revenue of around $222 million, which is over 50% higher than the roughly $150 million they're going to do this year. Absolutely huge. They're expecting gross margin of around 20 to 25% and adjusted EBIT of $8 to $10 million. Now, as the years go by, I'm not going to list all of these, but you can see how revenues are growing at a massive pace. And with that, gross margin actually increases, which is something you really like to see from a business model. And by 2026, they're expecting around $1 billion in revenue and over 35% gross margin. Absolutely huge. To have 35% gross margin in the food industry is something really big that not a lot of food companies can say. So now with this, we can create a price target. Now I'm expecting that by 2025, the Tattooed Chef is going to reach $1 billion in revenue. Now, in their recent statement, they said they're expecting that by 2026. And in my opinion, they're sandbagging these estimates for growth. Because think about this. If they went from $300 million to $500 million in revenue within the span of 1 year, which is like 60 to 70% growth, what's to say that they won't be able to grow 40% or 50% over the next couple years? And if that is true, they should easily be able to hit $1 billion in revenue by 2025. And I don't really see why revenue growth would shrink so much after 2023. So in my opinion, I think they sandbagged these earnings as a newly publicly traded company. I think they wanted to set expectations relatively low just to make sure that they can hit them. And going forward from there, I think we can see a lot of beats going forward into the future. So expecting revenue of $1 billion by 2025 and 35% gross margin, which is kind of what they're expecting. They said 35% plus, so it might be higher than that. But let's just expect this 35% and like a price to earnings of around 40, I guess we could say. These are very kind of rough estimates with the Tattooed Chef as they haven't really spent too much on marketing and we don't really have an idea of their expenses. So given that, my price target's around $140, it could be $120 to $140. It all depends on their revenue growth, how quickly they expand into a lot of these big retailers like Costco, Sam's Club, Whole Foods, and European expansion. If they expand into Europe and Canada, this could be low, as that presents such a massive opportunity. I think Europe could be absolutely huge if they start to scale that over the coming years. So in terms of what I'm doing with the stock at around $23.42, I think it's a great position to kind of add a little. So we can kind of look at the technicals here. I'm not too great in terms of technicals, but we can kind of see it's been in a consolidation phase since about December 20th. It hasn't moved at all. And in my opinion, earnings coming up first 2 weeks of March, I think that could be a big catalyst to see the stock pop, especially if we get some positive news in regards to their marketing campaign. So that's kind of what I think. I don't see too much downside with the Tattooed Chef. And even if somehow they don't report earnings that are phenomenal, I think that's just a great buying opportunity in the end. I think with a lot of these stocks, all dips are buying opportunities, especially when you have that long-term vision. In my opinion, I think the Tattooed Chef's going to be trading well over $100 per share 3 to 5 years down the road. So why wouldn't I take advantage of all the dips and use that on the way up to take advantage of my position? So that's what I'm doing. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure to drop a like, subscribe if you're new. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day.